This video is to cover instructions for the informative research essay. Many students ask why they are writing this particular essay. Well, in your personal or professional life, it's essential that you learn how to pass on information effectively. No matter what field you're going into or career choice you have, it will be essential that you are able to inform colleagues or friends or others effectively about particular information. Remember, writing is really the act of giving. You are giving the reader knowledge or information about a particular area, or in this case, topic. So when you are informing others, it's very important that you are truthful and reliable and select supporting your material or information. You want to be choosing only sources that are credible. You also want to be able to not just simply rely on your own personal knowledge. Quite often, and in many areas, it may be limited. This is where the research comes in. You go and research to find other information to expand your knowledge base. And then when we are offering, or you are offering this information in the essay, you want to make sure you are even-handed and unbiased, that you are relaying information with clarity and understanding larger concepts. So this unit, the informative research essay, is going to help you practice conveying clear, concise information using credible library and internet resources. You will be using both library and internet resources. So the first step for this particular essay is brainstorming. Much like we have done with all other essays during this semester, you start with brainstorming. You may have a variety of strategies for doing this, but one of the items that we recommend is simply think about ideas or terms or examples or items that interest you, that you have a special interest and that you would not mind spending quite a bit of time investigating. You might have a really high interest in particular people or historical events or particular phenomena, and you want to find more about it. You may know a little bit about it, but if you're going to explain it fully to someone else, you are going to need to understand that topic very well, and you will need to do some research. So think about this in the topic, and what category is this going to fit? What information are you going to want to convey or research to find out so that you can convey it to your audience? You do want your informative research paper topic to be unique. You don't want it to be the same old, something you've done in high school, something that people already know a lot about. You want it to be a little unique and different. It also needs to be researchable. If you cannot find information on it, you certainly cannot convey additional information outside of your prior knowledge to the reader. It's strongly recommended that your topic be very interesting to you. You're going to spend a lot of time with this particular topic and researching, reading, and it's always better if it's something that interests you. And then it will have to be complex enough to sustain the length of paper that is assigned for this essay. So after you're done brainstorming and you've gotten some topics, you need to focus and start researching that topic. In order to show your knowledge about a topic and understand the complexity of it, you do need to have support material that's credible and accurate. So seek out information from a variety of sources, of course, library books, magazines, newspapers, journals, even firsthand personal knowledge if you have this and it is from an authoritative source or a credible source. You may locate items in the internet and databases within the library. So there are requirements for material use within this essay. So do be aware, in this essay, you're going to be required to have a minimum of 5 credible sources. Credible means that there's no wikis, no blogs, no personal web pages. 3 of those 5 sources are required to come from the library databases here at SMC. Our library databases are ones like ProQuest, OmniFile, Gale. You do not need to have your source be peer reviewed. However, you are allowed to have it. And when you look at the database video, Jennifer Zimmer will talk in that video about how can you tell that it's peer reviewed or not. However, all sources, whether they be from the databases or from the internet, have to pass the CRAP test, which basically you're checking for credibility, reliability, etc. And that particular item is in this unit. You can just simply look it up and the acronyms are covered. Any source you use must pass the CRAP test. In other words, it has to be credible and reliable and relevant. So you are allowed to use one interview from a credible person. Now, a credible person means they are an authority within that topic you are researching. An example of that, you are doing a topic on using fluoride to prevent using fluoride in toothpaste to prevent cavities, and you want to inform the reader about dental health when you use fluoride in toothpaste. An authority would be a dentist. So a dentist who has a degree in that particular field would certainly be an authority. They don't always have to have a degree. They can also have a high amount of work experience or high amount of experience in general, expertise, we call it, within that field as well. If you wonder about your interview source, if it's from a credible person, certainly ask your instructor and they will be able to tell you right on the spot. After you have started narrowing down, looking at research, looking databases, looking at internet on your topic, you are ready to begin drafting your essay. Now, before you draft, make sure you spend time reading and annotating those sources. A really good essay has quite a few sources and you want to read them. You don't want to just plop and drop. You're only using resources that are relevant and useful to what you are informing the reader. Spend time outlining what you want your topic's main points to be within the essay, and then what sources that you found that are going to support those particular points. And of course, like all other essays we've done the entire semester, it should be organized using introduction, body, and conclusion. So your introduction should contain the pitch, or basically telling the reader what they're going to learn about the topic, and then provide a little bit of a roadmap for the rest of your essay. Make sure you provide a reference to a source in the introductory paragraph. And this will probably be one of your major sources that you may refer back to continually or off and on throughout the rest of the essay. Now, your thesis statement should also be within the introduction section. Remember, your thesis statement summarizes the information the reader will learn after they have read your essay. So make sure you follow the formula and apply what we have talked about, which is the 2 or 3 sentences appearing at the end of the intro. And remember, we do have the thesis formula for you to follow, as we've covered in prior sections. In the instructions, there are 2 examples of thesis for you to take a look at. And so these are for you as like samples, so you can see what a good thesis is structured like. When you get into the body is the main points of what you want the reader to know in order to obtain knowledge about the topic you're talking about and help them understand basically any complexities or complications within your topic. You're moving beyond common knowledge in this essay. So in your body paragraphs, your topic sentences should reveal the main points the reader is going to get right at the beginning of the body paragraph. So don't assume that the reader has knowledge, even of the smallest details. Remember, we've covered the quote sandwich or the 3 I's. Make sure you integrate those within the body all the way through. You should be quoting at least once in each body paragraph. Now, remember, that means your paragraphs are going to be rather lengthy, and that's okay. You are allowed one single block quote in the paper, but you only get one. You can't do that more than once. Remember, a block quote is when you have a special structure and you're using or quoting more than 4 lines from your source. You only use a block quote when you're using 4 lines or more. And remember, you only get that one time in the essay. You're not required to use block quoting at all. However, if you do use it, that's allowed, but only one time. And your conclusion. Your conclusion will leave the reader hungry for more information. You want to tell them, items, key items they may want to remember. What do you maybe want them to do with that information? Remember, your goal is to inspire them that they may want to go find more about the information. It's not just a summary, but really more of a thinking pad launch of, so what? Why were you informing the reader of all of this? The conclusion also, remember that you can re-summarize, but that should not just be the only thing that is in your conclusion. Don't leave the reader hanging. Remember also, the entire essay is formatted to MLA document design. This is something we have been working on all semester. But in this essay particular, you need to include in-text citations and have a works cited page. Remember, the works cited page must correlate to every single in-text citation you have used within the paper. We have all kinds of sources to use to help you with this. Purdue OWL, Night Site, and then of course you can do writing consultations and certainly schedule a conference with the instructor. Now, your final step is, of course, turn it in. And your final copy should be polished, which means you have taken the time to go back, revise, do some rewriting, do some editing, check grammar, all of those kinds of things. The final polished copy should be a minimum of 4 full pages. That means, remember, at least one word spills onto the 5th page. That does not include your works cited page. So it's 4 full pages plus a works cited page. Everything is double spaced, including your works cited page. Now, you will need to submit the essay before the due date posted on Moodle. So this will be an upload. And remember, late submissions on this particular essay are not accepted unless you have prior approval from the instructor. Now remember, one of the requirements of our course is that you do writing consultations. This is a great one. Get a writing consultation at the TLC, online or in person if they are making appointments. But it is strongly recommended you do more than one consultation with this particular essay. Most students, to successfully score on this essay, which means 73.4% or higher, do at least 2 or 3 consultations on this essay. It is a fairly lengthy one and complicated, and you will need to revise it at least twice to get it to the level that would be at success. One word of caution about plagiarism. To avoid plagiarism, make sure you state in the essay where you receive any outside information. If you use any kind of information from an outside source, word for word, if you take it from something and you're using their words, you need to have quotation marks around it. Even information that you are summarizing or paraphrasing means you rearranged it and you did it in your own words. You're not doing it word for word, it's not a quote, you still need to acknowledge that with an in-text citation that you got that. You have to give credit to the proper source of where the information came from. So remember, I am expecting MLA in-text citations and a works cited page. As always, if you have any questions or concerns, reach out to your instructor at any time. Be happy to help you.